before I have this like deep desire of wanting more, I have to like stop myself. And it is a privilege. Like I have to remind myself constantly, like being able to follow your dream and execute it the way in this way is kind of a privilege. Like not everybody, whether they have the mindset to do it or the means to do it, can, go for what they are truly wanting to go for. So the fact that I have both the minds and the means, like I have to respect and be grateful for that. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
so whether I want more, cause like I'm addicted, but whether I want more, I have to like take a look back and be like, you go girl, like you did that,
One more roll, one more dance for the doors get closed. Please remember, enjoy the show. Let's get happy before we get old.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Dean West Perspective. I'm Dean West still, and I could be more excited to launch season 2 because on this episode, I truly get to dive into what I've been doing, and today is a milestone moment for me in the podcast. This is the first time I've got to have one of my students on the podcast, especially for someone that's been kicking so much butt lately, and we get to dive down what all she's been doing. My guest is a brilliant and beautiful, as she is bold, Miss Betsy Borrego, and I think she's amassed about 24 plus professional credits at this current moment. She's consistently booking roles in some of the most popular film and television shows in the industry. She's seen her dynamic work across major projects like horror, thriller, Antebellum, the acclaimed Netflix comedy Lovebirds, Tall Girl, Blumhouse psychological horror Black Box. She's been on screen on Daisy Jones and the Six, The Passenger, Marvel's Cloak and Dagger, Queen Sugar Claus, Renfield, Labyrinth, Redemption, and just a lot more stuff. So without the further ado, Betsy Borrego, thank you so much for joining me for season 2 of the Dean West Perspective.
Thank you for having me. I'm like really, really excited right now. And also, I didn't realize how many projects I've actually been in until you just named them off like that. And I was like, oh my God, yes, that one.
I was honestly
That
about to
one.
ask you, how does it feel hearing all of that? And like, because, this is one of those, acting's such an interesting thing because as you start this road, you always feel like you're on this like edge of hustle so much that by the time you look back, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Like, how
get
does that feel to
that.
hear that many credits?
It
And I didn't even go through them. That was just literally, a little batch.
Yeah, no, it feels insane considering like when I feel like I first got with you as my coach, I was coming from theater. Like I was like I have
Yeah.
0 credits. I'm doing this switcheroo and like I'm trying to get out of that theater acting and to now like look back, I think we met in what, 18? So
God, I don't know. It's still pandemic just is like a washy,
watch
weird
I
blur.
know
And that was 19, right?
like
So
that was
I
20,
feel like I've,
yeah, that was like top of 2020 was the
okay.
pandemic. And then, but we were together a year or 2 years before that. Cause I remember I did a whole like switch of my life in 2017.
Yeah,
And then no, it was 2017 because I hadn't switched over to
that sounds,
PNG yet. So it was 2017. And I remember us walking through me doing that switch of agents and all that kind
yep.
of stuff. So yeah, we got together mid 2017. And then from there on, now 20 something credits later, we're here.
Yeah, I stopped counting. Or I was like, I'm just going to say 24 plus. I want to say, and that's not counting. I think you have 2 or 3 that are kind of like in production and that kind
Hmm.
of stuff. So that might be in post or whatever. But
Yeah.
yes, somewhere around the 24 to 27 ish range. And like you could look at that and go, yeah, over 5 years. But again, there was like we're talking about 3 or 4 years of the industry that's been a pure shit show
Yeah.
by itself. So to be able to amass that amount of credits and the time you've done throughout pandemic and writer's strike, actor's strike, whatever
Yeah.
else,
All of the
human
things.
strike, everyone just kind of gave up in general.
Yeah.
So to be able to do it during that period of time is what I think such a really cool thing. And like I said, I feel like half of it's a blur because of the crazy time, and then we just don't we don't take the time to really kind of, I mean, I know I force you to, but we don't usually take the time to look back and go,
Wow,
okay,
I did that. No, I feel like because of your teachings and like because you're my teacher, I naturally like think back at all of it before I have this like deep desire of wanting more. I have to like stop myself. And it is a privilege. Like I have to remind myself constantly, like being able to follow your dream and execute it the way in this way is kind of a privilege. Like not everybody, whether they have the mindset to do it or the means to do it, can go for what they are truly wanting to go for. So the fact that I have both the minds and the means, like I have to respect and be grateful for that. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah,
so whether I want more, because like I'm addicted, but whether I want more, I have to like take a look back and be like, you go, girl.
yeah,
Like you did that, like we're doing it.
I love it. So let's hit that for a second. So there was a mind shit shift, and during the mind shit shift, um, what do you feel like switched on kind of the personal stuff, and then we'll talk about kind of the crafty kind of thing that kind of
Yeah.
adjusted as going forward. But what do you feel like it was like in the mind that you were able to adjust from what you kind of had previously kind of looked at, I guess, life as, which we'll dive down that real deep rabbit hole later. Currently, what do you feel like really shifted of like this is kind of how I see what I'm doing, and then now I kind of look at it this way?
Yeah, I think when I started wanting to take it seriously, I not that theater actors don't take their craft seriously because they absolutely
Sure,
do. I've
yeah.
been surrounded by many of them throughout my life. But I think part of it was like I don't want to just be this. Like I don't want to just kind of box myself into this is, Betsy Borrego, the actor on stage. I wanted so much more for myself, and I think in order to go places that I haven't been, I have to think the way I haven't been thinking. And from there, I was like, I need to. And then it doesn't help that I got with my wonderful husband now, and he really took that like he helped me see that perspective as well, and was like, you need to switch up things. Like your life is changing, you're getting older, you're wanting to do all of these things, but you're still stuck in this mindset. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So we started looking for different acting coaches, which then I found you, and I was like, okay, this is great. And then from there, I was like, I'm feeling
I
certain.
wasn't the first though, right?
No, I
You
tested.
went and tested a
Yeah,
couple
I
cars,
definitely
right?
had
Okay, good.
multiple. No, for sure, I've had multiple different acting
Okay.
coaches, but I think
I was like, I'm not good because I'm the only one you stuck with, right?
no, no.
Kidding.
I
I'm just
mean,
kidding. Go
you
ahead.
are good because you are the only one I stuck with. I've been with you for years and years, but um, I have gone to multiple other acting coaches, and it's not like they didn't work. It's just, I went to school for theater. I went to college. I took, college theater classes in college, and ultimately it becomes so repetitive, and it
Yeah.
almost feels like there's not, after learning, the different techniques, there's not much out there that you are learning on how to do it. So it just felt like, okay, what is the point of me going to these acting classes if I'm just going to learn the same thing over and over and over again? And honestly, the definition of insanity is stuff,
Doing the same thing over and over again.
you know,
And it didn't work the
and it
first 20
wasn't
times.
really working for me. And I didn't want to start questioning because I do maybe have, and we can maybe chalk it up to my ego a little bit, but I genuinely believe that I am talented. And I was like, I know my worth, I know my talent. I know that like this isn't the box that I belong in, and that might work for several other actors, and that's wonderful and that's great, and honestly like kudos to them, but it's not working for me. And this is the thing that I have a passion for, this is the thing that I know I'm good at, and this is the thing I want to do. So let me kind of switch things up. And I think that once I had that mind shift of like waking up, taking off my rose colored glasses, I was able to kind of like dive deep And then when, we started working together and everything that you've taught me kind of like clicked and made sense. And it was really genuinely like turning on a light bulb and being like, no, this makes more sense to me. Like approaching acting in this way speaks to my soul that it almost like I tell everybody, like I started taking classes with Dean and I switched my agency and I just went, phew. And whether it was timing, whether it was my, whatever it was, it just happened and I'm not looking back. Like this works for me.
Yeah.
And I've gone to other classes outside. Like once we started taking classes, it wasn't like I was just sticking with you. Like I've gone to other
Yeah.
teachers and other coaches as well. But I ultimately every time just revert back to being like, okay, well, that was great. I'll take this nugget. I'll take that. This works for me. This didn't. And I'm going to insert everything on what I've learned in my little salad. And now I can
Yeah.
toss it up and,
Yeah, and I think that's the key that, I don't want to say, no, I do want to say, some actors look at this and go, this is my acting coach and this is where I stay. And I remember when I first moved back to the South, there were a few of the coaches around here that literally had their students in this mind frame of like, no, you are my sensei and I cannot leave. And I was like, this is fucking scary. What kind of cult and shit? And I'm always in the mind frame of like I love that people come back to me and they love studying with me. But at the same time, while I have a really different perspective on what we do, I've got my perspective on what we do. And I can look at all of the different ones and give you a version of that if that what's fit best for you, right? Like you've seen me in classes. Like if this person is a very Stanislavski version type of person and that's what they do, then I'm gonna help them do what they do because that works best for them. But I'm still gonna scratch that surface as much as I can and be like, yeah, but let's go a little deeper. And some people are good with going deeper, like you wanted that. We were looking for something to get those little unlocking of the nuggets that give you the freedom you get. And some people that scares the shit out of them. I give a mirror, and some people are like, "Look at me, holy shit!" And I give some people a mirror, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, don't take that back. I don't want to see all those bad things that I could also be."
mm-hmm.
But that to me is like that's what if all of your strength is hiding right there in the bad thing you don't want to see?
Right.
Hey, are we live somewhere? Oh, okay, no, that's just us. I was like, it showed me chats over here, and I was like, what's going on over there? Um, and so I think it's like really cool that you still went and pushed around to different places because I'm like I want you to go check out places. I want you when I'm not coaching or we don't have something going on, which now I've got nonstop. We'll talk about that later. I want people to have new experiences, and I've always referenced it to like religions or churches. It's like go check out the church. There's got to be something you take, and you're like, oh yeah, that's my nugget.
Mm-hmm.
That shit's crazy. I'm gonna keep my nugget. Thank you though. And then I'll check out some other places.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you were willing to continually find places that you get to play and test because you're gonna get, even if it's like the same thing I might say, you might hear it in a different way that goes, ah, I got that now. Okay, let me see if I can reapply it in this way. So I was, for me, yeah, check out the spider web, see whatever sticks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a beauty in that too, right? Just as you mentioned, like the church thing, you go and you find the little things that speak to you, and there's some things that you don't teach that I've gone and I'm like, oh, I actually like that. I like the idea of, substitution in this manner, or like when I have to have a quick audition that's like a 1-2 liner, not going as deep as I normally do and having like a quick
Hmm.
substitution option there that I may not usually subscribe to on a more, bigger, broader,
Yeah,
but it's good to have it. And I like brushing up on that technique. So of course I'm going to go to somebody who teaches that a little bit more and in depth, and I think it's great. I think I like having my little toolbox when it's needed, but not always like digging into the toolbox every time. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like, I think the one thing that I've enjoyed with our time together is the idea of like, you have your toolbox, it's there. There's a whole, box of techniques that you can go to, but let's forget about that for a second and focus on like the
Yeah.
humanity of it. And I'm like, yeah, yes, let's do that. Let's actually do
Yeah.
that.
To me, you know, and you obviously it makes sense when you say it this way, but to me, the toolbox is there when something's broken.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not broken,
Mm-hmm.
what do you fucking need that hammer for? What are you hitting? Not everything is a nail, but if you only, and that's, you know, the lack of tools is a problem too, because if you only have a hammer, then everything has to be a nail.
Mm-hmm.
Versus I've got this array of tools, and I may not need, I literally might just need the measuring stick. And that might be the thing that helps me go, ah, perspective. Now I see. We're good. Okay, I can put that back away. And I want the toolbox there. You know, I teach the full technique of working through kind of the Uta Hagen style and stuff. And I want that to be a foundation so that we can do away with the
Mm-hmm.
foundation. And now we get to really get creative on building the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
house. But again, if all you have is that hammer and you haven't tried all the other
Mm-hmm.
stuff, one, you don't know when to use them, right? You might have a, like you were saying, like if we're working on something speedy, well, cool. I might not need all that, but if I want to just pull out substitution, I'm like, all right, cool. Let me just switch this real fast because I don't have time to dive into making sure of my real connection here. I can just I'll throw my mom right there and we're good to go. And that's immediate, right? To me, most of the time, especially where you're at now, is like we don't even necessarily have to worry about even going to the
Mm-hmm.
toolbox because my brain already knew exactly which tool I used. It affected it. We're switched already. We're good. I don't even have to go there to try to adjust. It's just like, yeah, well, why wouldn't I? What do you mean to use this? Of course I did. It was done already. Like, you know, now it becomes this thing where the second nature is already implementing the tools needed while reading through the
Mm-hmm.
script. So then, like your second or third read of the script, you might make little notches along the side of it, but most of those things happened almost automatically. Hopefully on the second read, but probably some of it on the first read. And then you can just go back and be like, all right, let's solidify some of this for third, and then going forward. How many times do you feel like you read through a script when you're working on full feature or full episodes?
I don't even think I counted the times. I think I've read it, and because I think each time I read it, depending on the time of day, the mind frame that I'm in, like how I'm feeling emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
I'll take something away from it differently. And then, once I'm like, okay, let me do the work, let me dive deep, let me do my script analysis, like I'll go through the whole like meditation, emptying myself and all that kind of stuff, and then reading it with a fresh pair of eyes. But I don't think I have like a number of like two, three, four, five. I just kind of like pick it up and read it and then
Yeah.
read through the whole thing and like, oh, okay. And then it's like, the third, fourth read, you're like, oh, wait, let me write this down, because like now you start clicking and it's like, oh, but this happens. My character doesn't know that this happens. So this changes the way that I'm actually reading this scene, because I'm don't know any of this. So let me actually,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I just go through that. But I think again, depending on how I'm the time of day, like if I'm reading it in the morning, I might miss something, versus like if I'm reading it at night and I've had a whole day attached to me, and it's like now maybe a little bit more alert, or vice versa. Like I read it in the morning, I don't have the
Yeah.
whole day attached to me, so I'm a little bit more alert and attentive to the script. And versus like reading it at night, I had a whole day in front of me, and now I'm like, all right, I'm just kind of skimming through, make sure I know the
Something
gist, and
soaking.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in my woo woo, and you've heard me refer to it this way, but my woo woo always goes, okay, when I've reached that alignment with character, then now reading through it because of the circumstances, the pre prep I've done, the understanding of what I've been through, and now getting to see everything through the character lens, if you want to call
Mm-hmm.
it that. These things, like they're kind of like little beacons that start just popping up through the script, and as I'm going through an alignment, this one, like every book, every reread, you have a new perspective to get into it. Because, and I know you're a bookie, so we'll jump into that for a second. But on this second go through, fourth, fifth go through, fifth go through, after I've actually been able to create a full character understanding and allow myself to kind of this alignment with character, so now I can kind of throw the idea of character away, and it's now it just I am going through the book, as I'm going through like that, those little beacons are the things to me that make what we do a such a freedom in our work. It allows us to do the most random shit that most people would go, I don't know, that seems like a weird choice. Oh, you made a choice? You made a choice to do. Why would I make a choice to do something like that? I didn't have a choice. That shit just happened because I was in alignment with who I am and what was going on. And when you're on set, those are the things that happen that make people walk up to you and go, I don't know what the fuck you just did, but let's keep that in there and do one more time. All right, we're going to roll again.
Yeah. I remember being on set from Runfield, and and you want to know something crazy? I remember walking off after the story that I'm about to say and thinking, I'm so glad that I was in alignment with like my character and I was truly living in the moment. Now, all of this got cut, but it was just so nice to see and have that interaction afterwards from the director and the lead actor. But there was like this restaurant scene, and I was just like supposed to be like this scared person, and I think Nicholas Holt, the lead guy, is supposed to ask me for the fly on the table, and I'm like, oh no, like what are you talking about, right? Like I don't know what are you asking for the gumbo? Like I don't. It's supposed to be like a comedic moment, right? We're supposed to. I'm scared. I'm like I don't know. Just take it, like kind of thing, right? Well, then he starts playing charades with me, and it starts becoming this bit, right? Like he plays charades, um and he's like one word sounds like, and he's like doing all these things, and we genuinely are playing charades. But I was so thankful that I was just like in it with him, and like we're locking eyes, we're making contact, I'm like in the, surrounded, everything becomes like super real, whatever. um and the director yells cut, and he's like, what were y'all doing? And Nicholas was like, I was playing charades. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, let's do that. And okay, let's just go again. Let's see what happens. And I was like, I don't know what he's going to do. So I just kind of have to be locked in the moment with him. But I was so in it, and he was so in it. And then we were so locked in with each other. The final take, and the director was like, I'm really going to fight for that. Like, that was funny. He points to the fly, he says, sounds like, and he does this, like, flying. And I'm like, no, that's not chicken, it's shrimp. It got to the point where everybody was like holding it in. And when they cut, because he goes like, oh my God, he yells cut, the whole like restaurant starts laughing.
Bust out.
Yes. And it was like, it got cut from the movie, but it was a moment for me that I was like, I'm so happy that I was so prepared for this moment. I was so locked in. I was so aligned with everything, because I could have missed that opportunity to
Sure.
play, like to be free in that moment.
All right, this is a quick break. If you are an actor, creative, or just a human being with emotions, so basically all of you, come hang out with me inside Tilt Acting School. I think of it like Hogwarts, but for acting, and without the trauma and weird hallways. This is not your grandma's acting class. We don't do pretend to be a tree, and we don't scream for no reason. We definitely don't do that weird lip trill warm up thingamajig from 1974. Inside Tilt, you get legit training, live classes, audition labs, mindset work, self tape feedback, plus the kind of self discovery that makes you go, oh, that's why I've been acting like a weird actor since 2011. And because I'm not trying to gatekeep the industry like some dusty acting gremlin, we have tiers. You can start as low as 27 bucks. Next step is 57 bucks, or you can do 99 bucks a month. You can pick your level of obsession. So, if you are ready to actually get better, grow faster, and stop doing monologues to your houseplants, come join me at school.com/tilt. TILT. All right, back to the show. What do you find that it is that does that for you? Like, do some actors have the mentality of like, well, this is how the script's written, so this is what it has to be the box,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't know if theater wise you had that previously, if like there was always no, this is an angry scene, so this is how it has to be handled. This is a love scene, so it has to be handled this way. When or what do you feel kind of allowed you to go, this is a scene, I'm in the moment. I don't know what kind it is because clearly we're in the fucking moment, which means this is like life. This is the edge of creation. I'm not supposed to know that it's an angry scene or whatever, because to me that's always just the blanket of like, oh, great, good, you made that whole scene the same, wonderfully done.
Kudos to you.
Yeah,
What a
great
talent.
angry scene, angry guy.
No, I think for me, I think it depends on like the creative team around me, honestly, because there are some people, directors, producers, actors as well, who want that, right? Like they want to tell
Hmm.
you like this is what it is, this is how it's going to go, and this is what I want to see, and you're like, okay, cool. I can do my job and give that to you.
Yeah, I can work within your square if that need
Right,
be.
exactly. But then when you have like such a great creative team around you that is like, let's just see what happens. Let's do a take for fun. And it's like, cool, like thank you for letting me off my chain and thank you for letting me off my leash because like we're
Yeah,
about to have fun. But I think I also learned that early on as well in theater. Sometimes you get some, co-stars or part like on stage some scene partners who literally every night will do something different, so you kind of have to be in the moment because you're live and
yeah.
there is no cut, there is no like, so I remember doing a show with one of the guys. He was my love interest. I literally had no idea when he was going to kiss me. Like he every night he would pick a different moment in the scene to kiss me, and I just had to, like I remember that and being like, okay, I just have to always be ready and I have to like just live in this moment, live on this stage, live here with these people,
Or
not
not be
be
ready, I
ready, right?
guess.
Exactly. Kind of like
Yeah,
let it happen. If it happens, it happens. If he does it, he does it. Whenever, and just go with it. And I think each production is different based off the creative team that I'm surrounded by. If I had my dream creative team, I would want collaboration across the board always. And let's figure
yeah,
it out. I did a short film recently, and the director was very clear on what he wanted the first and two takes, but we did four takes like every time. And he was like, the first take, like, let's do it like this. And then the second take, we're going to do it like this. And then the third and fourth, y'all could just kind of whatever. And I'm really intrigued to see like what made it. You know what I mean? Because like each
oh yeah,
each take, it's a short film. We're on a time schedule, so we're like each take was just so different. And I think he did a really wonderful job of like the first take is going to be like this, the second take is going to be the complete opposite of that, and then the third, fourth, we'll just see what happens. Do what you want to do. And I'm like, perfect. I love this. I love it.
yeah. That's the favorites of me. Like I love when when we kind of prep the way we do. The cool part, and I've had other actors talk about this, and they're like, no one ever does that for me. Like they don't let me do like everyone just tells me exactly what they want me to do in the scene, and I don't get to like no one. I don't get to have that kind of freedom. And I think, to me anyway, that's what shows up in your work when we do our first take and I see that little things can trip you if it didn't go the way scene was prepared, or if you didn't bring the level of commitment that we should be having, then that's when I find directors are like, all right, let me hawk this a little better. Let me make sure that I can keep them within the area that I need them in. And that's when I feel like you get pushed into no, 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 just stay in your lane and we'll just you missed this line versus the cool. Cool, we're gonna do it again. I enjoy kind of what's happening. You guys can play with this part a little bit more. Other than that, yeah, let's go again.
Yeah.
Okay, right? It's there's you continually get more and more freedom the more you work versus the backwards option of like, yeah, I had some freedom in the first take, and then they were just like, no,
Yeah.
this,
I mean, I
and it's like I never want to say,
right.
that
Yeah.
might be a personal thing.
Yeah. And I remember, and sometimes I think like I remember being on set and the director coming up to me, and it wasn't even my coverage. And, he was like, I feel like she's really stuck in this place. I need you to just kind of like, I know you're holding back because it's not your coverage, but I need you to just kind of like go for it. Like just scream, like cry, like you just whatever you feel, just
Bash her with
go
something.
for it. Because I feel like she's just kind of like stuck. And I was like, Say less. Say less. I got you. I'm gonna come. And when I did, you could see her face. Like she was like so taken aback, but it worked. It worked because
Mm-hmm.
I think she was stuck in a specific performance, which is fine. I mean, actors sometimes they prepare the work and they prepare it so brilliantly and they trust it so much that it's like, okay, that's the creative process that you took, that's what you came up with. And but when she was like it was just her face that she made, and the director was like, perfect, cut, that was great, that's great, I think we can move on now.
Yeah, see, I love that because it's when the directors start using you as kind of their tool. Again, to me, that's trust. That's the I know you can bring something to automatically kick her in the ass in a loving way, right? I was notorious. Like people either loved working with me when I was in errands, or they were like, "No, I'm good," because if you're not with me, if we're not with each other, I am going to step on your foot. I'm going to throw a random ass line. I'm going to hit you with a pillow. Whatever we can do to get both of us present again, I'll risk fucking the
Mm-hmm.
scene up.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather us fuck up this perfectly planned scene than us continue on with this perfectly planned, boring ass
Mm-hmm.
scene. There's nothing
Yeah.
fun there. And if I'm not having fun, you guys can't be enjoying watching
This
this.
can't.
Like,
Yeah, and it's kind of nice being on the receiving end of that too, because um,
mm-hmm.
I did this voice. It's like it was a voiceover work, but what was really fun is that they actually had me on set doing the voiceover stuff. Like I was the 911 operator, but they had me on set on the other, like behind the door with like mic'd up and everything. The actor's on the other side of the door, and I'm the 911 operator, so he can hear me, and it could be authentic to him as well. Like they really used me as a tool for
Yeah.
him. But what was really funny is that on one of the takes, he started cursing me out, and he like went on a tangent and started cursing me out, and I'm like, I sir, like I'm stumbling over my words, and the director was like, that's great. He's like looking at me, he's like, and I'm like, oh, okay, keep doing it, just keep going, that's great. And we started going
Yeah.
off the script, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, he got something out of me too, and so that's the take that they ended up using, and it was cool. Like it was cool to be on the receiving end of like, oh, I'm like just reading off a piece of paper, like I have my script in front of me, just reading
Yeah.
the lines, and here he is, like he's playing, and I'm like, oh, it's forcing me to kind of like get out of my
Improv somewhat the line that you
and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this is such an easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm just gonna go on set, do my lines, come back, like easy money kind of
Yeah.
thing, like there's some jobs that we look at it and it's like, this is a passion project. And then there's some is like, okay, like I love what I'm doing. This is a check. I have to recognize that. You know what I mean? Like, um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so that's what I went in with that mentality of like, okay, cool, I'm gonna have the script. They're letting me read off the script. It's gonna be fun. Like I'm in my pajamas, literally, like I'm chilling, big chilling. Um, and it was just really fun being on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, those are the gifts. Those are the things that when people offer some completely different thing you did not expect in the script, like even from when I'm directing stuff, I'm like, that's my favorite. Like when something, the brilliant accident happens that causes us to pivot. We're still after the same objective. Like we're not losing the scene completely. I think that's where, some people when they first start this idea of improv is the idea of like, oh, I get to make something
Mm-hmm.
funny. Please don't. But but the idea of we get to hit a bumpy road along the path, and sometimes the bumpy road is what made the ride so much
Yeah.
more fun.
Yes. Yes.
It's like for me, please bring me some fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Acting is so much fun. Like talk about this forever. Acting is such a gift too. Like when I think about it, and this is the woo woo in me. Like I, I love the ability of. I don't want to just say like becoming other people because that sounds such a like. It's not. It's more than that, but it's not that at the same time. It's like you really get to
Hmm.
discover other things. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna let her go, but you
Yes,
can't say that
yes.
because the weird like
Discover. It's
discovering.
like this discovery of emotions. It's this discovery of humanity, the way people think, the way people operate, what pushes people to act a certain way, what pushes people to like maybe retreat back, and it's just fascinating, and I think that that's one of the things that like really drew me to your work and like what we do together, because I think we're often taught the performance of things, like what would you do if, and like as if she was your mom or as if your sister came in, and it's like,
Yeah,
yes, I understand that we all need to be able to get to this emotional place, and some people are going to get there, or not even emotional, but just get to a place in general, and people are going to get there differently.
a truthful level,
Yeah,
I guess,
right.
to so it can activate
Exactly. But
them.
at the end of the day, like, let's strip away all of that. We're all kind of human right now, and let's just look
Kinda
at, yeah, kind of a little bit, some questionable. I'm just kidding.
depends on the world.
But like, let's look at this person as a human, because we're playing, unless we're playing some fantasy, ghoulish,
Right, that's literally not
right, literally
human. But
non-human.
but even there, we still come back to the same compassion and perspective of them coming from a place that they believe
Right.
is good
Ex-
for what they're doing, even if it's
ex-
literally a monster, because they're
the rest
defending
of the
the rest of their
exactly.
monster family.
So it's like, outside of that, we're literally playing humans. So let's meet them. You know what I mean? Like, let's get to know them. Let's get to
Hmm.
like, what life did they live? Why did they make these choices? And what was a choice that we made that didn't lead us to that? Because there's a road I could have taken that could have pushed me into being a drug addict, and what would I've been then? You know what I mean? Like, what would my life, like, these are questions that I
Yeah,
constantly, like, when I dive into characters, not necessarily inserting myself in my experience, and sometimes that is necessary, for like the empathetic level, but just really like dropping down to the core of like, this is a human being. Let me figure out this human being, and let me construct and make this human being what I can make it of it, within the realms of what the writer and the
yeah,
director is giving me.
yeah, because it's all self, right? Like we don't, and we hear that term a lot. People will say that like I like being able to be someone else, but to me it's really like you were about to say discovering. It's me discovering other
Mhm.
parts of me that I didn't get to allow, or that the universe just decided, no, you're
Right.
going this path. And like you said, I could have literally went right, and this would
Hmm.
be me. Right. I always like the when I'm talking with someone, like say we're working on serial killer or something like that, and they're like, right, but I could never kill someone, so how am I
Hmm.
supposed to even imagine? I was like, couldn't you?
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
Why? And then we have to explore what are the circumstances that you would completely justify killing someone. It sounds dark, but that might make you a hero
Hmm.
in some way. Uh, I was working with someone in Tilt the other day, and the conversation was it was a very like racist, bigoty type role. And he's like, and I can't. I know I'm supposed to be able to, go there, but I just don't know if I can go to that. Like that just seems like such a, I don't know. It doesn't, there's nothing about it that I want to be
Mm.
able to do that because I don't feel close enough to be able to do it. I'm like,
Hmm.
that's fine. But I think right now we're looking at it in the perspective of one, we're considering this person a racist bigot. And that's
Hmm.
totally understandable because the words he's using from regular common sense would go, that's very
Hmm.
racist and bigoted. We both understand that. And I think the problem isn't that you think it's racist and bigoted. I think the problem is that you think other people are going to think you are racist
Hmm.
and bigoted. And that
Hmm.
comes to the core of it. So, what can we do to help you understand that in that person's life, they're not the racist bigot? They are the actual
Hmm.
hero of their story. They are defending their family, their
Right.
country, their whatever it is, because they believe if they don't do that, their children suffer, their families suffer, their whole country suffer,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. And if we can look at it from that perspective, then you're not being a racist bigot. You're literally becoming the
Right.
hero in your story.
Yeah.
And you're all that, right? It's like if you can let yourself go there, and really and you've heard me say it, but to me, it always comes back to that. What can I
Mm-hmm.
allow
Mm-hmm.
to be mine? What is it? What's the allowance that I have to give myself right now? Because they're all mine, right? All the little weirdos
Mm-hmm.
that I get to play. There's some version of me that I can dig up that can
Mm-hmm.
totally hone into that. And if you can't, then I think that's mostly a personal problem, not necessarily like I can't be that evil or that dark.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can. In your head, you're judging you and you're worried about what your other
Mm-hmm.
people's perspective of you is going to be, which is understandable, right? That's why to me this whole thing is really certain levels of self-discovery. How deep am I going with
Mm-hmm.
my shit
I remember,
that I
yeah,
can
I
figure out
remember the
more
first,
of me?
like, I don't know how many sessions, but probably for the first, like, half a year. I remember every single time we would meet, I would cry. And I'm like, and it wasn't even like diving into the actual work. Like, the first project I ever booked, you put on tape. We put on tape together. I don't know if you remember that, but it was the one, I had a baby. We put a backpack over me, and I was like carrying a baby. Do you remember
Oh
that?
yeah.
It was like this or something. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the session, like before that in the meditation, I was crying. And it was like, the scene had like, I had like 5 lines. It was like I was in a like fish market or something. And, but just getting to the point where I can like do away with all the shit I was carrying. I was like in tears, and I'm like, okay, let's go. I think I'm good. I think I'm empty now. I think I'm good. I think I can focus on that. I think I know who this person is. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it's self-discovery. Like it's your own shit. People, it's and I think I've said this, but I like with kids, I'll say let's play for real because kids can still they don't need to know
Right.
what they're doing. They can just do. Humans, grown-ups, we've got to the place that we almost feel like we have to understand it
Mm-hmm.
before we can do it. So it's a different thing. I have to make you consider your issues
Mm-hmm.
along with the thing. One, because you know, 70% of people I coach will probably not continue with
Mm-hmm.
acting for the rest of their life. But if we work in this way, 99% are going to take stuff with them that affects and helps the rest of their life and their
Mm-hmm.
relationships and everything else. Do you do you feel like you've ever did you notice a shift in relationships coming as you kind of adjusted some of the way you act with this craft, the way we do things?
Yeah, but I think, I don't know, because I think like I got a lot closer with my sister, you know, and I think I don't know, and maybe I could go back and like this was just all around a turning point for me. Um, like my
Hmm.
life was in general just changing. Like that's when I first jumped into the
Yeah.
relationship that I'm in right now, and my sister ended up was pregnant with my first niece, and so like there was just like this big, a lot of
A
change
lot of
in my
change.
life, and I think the way I approached the change also helped me with the relationships, and I think jumping into our classes and our sessions together, and then like I felt like it was less of an acting class and more of like a therapy session at some points, that we just so happened to end in like acting out a person or something. um, but I think with that I was able to be a better, I hate being like I'm a better person now, but like it does feel
Yeah.
like I became a better person overall for everybody in my life.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like,
if we're dealing with something that is a deep dive of self-discovery, and every
mm-hmm,
time you get to work on another character, you get to deal with your faults or imperfections. your
Mhm.
awareness consistently climbs.
Oh my
So
goodness.
all of a sudden,
Yes.
in the middle of your relationships you may have had before, when it
Mhm.
was, I'm on the phone doing, or I'm kind of here, but I'm checked out. And then when all of your work becomes how much can you tune into the other person, when your life
Mhm.
can mirror that in a way, you can't help but to have a deeper respect for each other or a deeper
Yeah.
connection, because I can truly hear you without my defense mechanism working in front of it going, okay. Oh, my regular spam call. Without my regular defense mechanism popping up and assuming that either one, someone's attacking me because it sounded like something I would take offense to, or someone is, whatever they're saying isn't as important because it's not about me or mine.
Mhm.
When a lot of your
Yeah.
work with this is, it's figuring out how much we can tune in, how much we can assume that we are all doing something from a better place, right? If I have an uncle that's just always a bit of an a-hole, but I then try to get in his perspective and go, oh, okay, he fucked up his back years ago, he's usually in pain, he's got this going on, he's trying to do
Mhm.
this every morning, he's also a vet, he's got, like, I can consider some of the things. It's easier for me to approach him in a way knowing what he's been going through and have a much better
Mhm.
conversation because I'm in consideration of what he's dealing with versus.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to land this plane for now, but don't forget, if you want to train, grow, and actually get better instead of pretending you're getting better, come hang out with me inside Tilt Acting School. And a huge shout out to my new partner, Jamex, who's now distributing this show everywhere. So spread these episodes far and wide, be generous, be chaotic, send it to your ex, your classmates, even your grandma. Everybody. And please join us on the next episode as we wrap things up with Betsy Borrego.